It's 2:40 in the morning. How everybody doing? It's the granny lady. Glamorous granny. Everything happens for a reason. I haven't been on for a while because I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, going through things, making adjustments, trying to find my peace. Thank you for being you. My shirt a little wrinkled as my pajamas. So hey. A firmer foundation. The best way to know that the events of our lives are bringing forth good fruit is to look at what we need. Sandy needed the opportunity and time to strengthen her self confidence. Maybe there's some specific way you've needed to become stronger, and maybe your life has already given it to you. Do you, do you fall into this category? Here's how you can tell for sure. Answer the following diagnostic questions. These are the questions she put. Sorry. Um, have you ever had more than your share of losses in your life? I have. February, March, April, May. Lost some loved ones. Has low self-esteem been an issue for you? Do you have trouble identifying things in your life that can't be taken away from you? Has it been your experience that most things in life are impermanent? Relationships, friends, jobs, and so on. Do you feel you're under serious threat of losing what you have? Are you hungry to have something in your life that you're really good at? Have you felt there's something important missing at your core? Do you feel that your ability to move forward, hold on, the book is falling apart, into your future is blocked? A yes answer to four or more a question of these questions reveals that there's a reason for what happened to you, and it's to help you be stronger in some specific way. And this is true no matter what the event was, because the meaning of an event comes from who you are and what you need. Okay? Not from the event itself. How can I say that these questions determine whether the meaning of some event is given to you a way to become stronger? I've talked to many people who discovered that becoming stronger was the meaning of what happened to them. And they too would have answered yes to four or more of these above questions. Most people are stronger than they think. We we get scared, overwhelmed, sad, and all these emotions makes us think we're weak. Yeah, they said it makes you think you're weak. Do you think you're weak? Let's see. Occasionally, they even knock us flat on our back. But then we recover, we cope, we triumph. Don't let your feelings make you think that you're weaker than you are. Yet, many of us still need to become strengthened. Here's why: a foundation is a springboard. We need to become stronger because we need more of a foundation. A foundation gives you a basis for something else above and beyond it, just as the concrete foundation under your house is the basis for your house. Certain foundational tennis skills are the basis of your tennis game. Having a good foundation in people skills is a part of the basis for a successful career in business. So you may have needed to have your foundation strengthened in a certain way because you needed a basis for doing something brand new, or because you've never had a basis for doing something that's very important to you. And that's why things happen to us sometimes, to give us a special strength that makes us a new future possible. Growing up in a lifelong process for everyone. I know people in their 80s and 90s who are still picking up missing pieces in their development. And fortunately, over and over again, life comes to you in your to your aid and just when you need it. When Sandy, for example, became an adult, her self-confidence was still a work of progress. Cosmic kindergarten came to her aid. It made it possible for Sandy to build up her confidence at work, and this gave her just enough strength build up her confidence at work. This gave her just enough of an overall sense of confidence to be able to go forward and find the kind of relationship she wanted. When you think of all the things you're trying to do now and all the things that may be important for you to do in the future, it takes pretty broad foundation to support all of that. So it's not surprising that there'd be a part of your foundation that needs strengthening. What part? Any part. It might be something incredibly specific. For example, your father was transferred to Paris when you were a teenager and you spent 4 miserable years, your precious high school years, going to a school in France. But everything happened for a reason. You learned French really well. That not be, might not seem like a big deal foundation wise, but somehow it got you into a really good college and opened the door to a career in international law, which was exciting and suited for you perfectly. It might be putting your life on more of a solid footing. Joe's company transferred him to a facility in an isolated rural environment for 6 years. He thought he'd go out of his mind because there was nothing to do. Why am I being punished like this? He asked himself over and over again. But everything happens for a reason. And it turns out that 6 years of nothing to do is 6 years of a no way to spend your money. For the first time in his life, Joe was able to save considerably amount of money, giving him a financial foundation he never had before. It might be developing an inner strength. One woman I know grew up with a father who drank and then had to watch her older brothers get into trouble as they became heavy drinkers. She lived for years with all the misery and suffering, but everything happens for a reason. She saw that people needed a foundation of happiness under them, and that, in fact, happiness is a choice. She saw the men in her life choosing to be miserable, and that gave her an amazing strength. It made it possible for her to choose to be happy, a choice she continued to make every single day from that point on. Foundational strengths are the seeds of new futures. But what future? How do you discover that what happened to you strengthened you in a way that gives you a new future? Hmm. Next, something that can never be taken away from you. Adam, 29, was a patient of mine. He was a quite pleasant, compact, thoughtful man, just being a career as an art historian at a major university. He came to see me because he was going through a crisis that took him unaware. I liked him immediately. He recently married a woman he loved very much, with whom he was looking forward to building a family. But after their wedding, he found himself starting to get depressed and unaccountably resisting the idea of their having children. Mm. Let's see. Having children. Mm. What is happening to me? He asked. This goes on all the time in my work with people. They wake up one day to find themselves tied in a knot, and they come to me to figure out how everything got so knotted and what they can do about it. We take it for granted that everyone has a childhood of some sort. Adam missed out on most of his childhood because he was born with multiple congenital heart problems that were misdiagnosed, mistreated at an early age. From the ages of 5 through 11, Adam was semi invalid. He was unable to go to school or play outdoors with other children. It was if his life had a huge hole in it. Like most kids, Adam eventually got used to the hand he had been dealt growing up. Entering his new wife's family, however, reminded him of how much he'd missed. There were all the stories of home movies of his wife and her sisters playing actively as kids. As he put as he put it, the more time I spent with my wife's family, the bluer I got. He became sad because he didn't have a child because he had an illness. Hmm. I'd lost and I had to go through mourning all over again. But it was the kind of loss that seems permanent and healable. Every time I saw my wife's family, I'd be reminded of what I'd never gotten. He paused. And what I still need. He needed a childhood. Some of us grow up too fast or either have to be responsible for our siblings and we miss out on our childhood, or we may have health issues that don't permit us to be a kid. Adam tried to put it all in perspective for me. I don't feel sorry for myself, but here's the thing. For me, there's still this mystery. I compare my non-childhood with my wife's wonderful childhood. Can it mean nothing? Why not try this? I suggested. What if we only think we don't know the reason why something happened to us? Like you're losing all those years growing up. What if deep down we do know and we show that we know by the way we live? Suppose we looked at what you're doing in your life now, and that's where you'll find the answer to the question, what did I learn from all this? When you see what you learn, you'll see the reason why you went through what you did. What did I learn? Adam thought for a moment. Sometimes I think I never outgrew the picture books. I read I read when I was a little boy, little kid stuck in the bed. By the time I was in college, I'd come into to loving painting, and I took this little introductory art history course, and the woman who taught it knew every painting that had ever been painted and how all the artists were influenced by the other artists. And I thought, wow, that's what I want to do with my life. You get to look at all these beautiful paintings and you know everything. My colleagues really loved art too. But the fact that there's so much to know, they find kind of annoying and overwhelming to me. To me, that's what I love about it. Okay, so when you know everything about art history, well, so what? I keep going back to my professors who knew everything. They look, they're like a rock. They're solid. If you have a theory, someone can prove your theory wrong. But if you know every image, by Raphael, Rembrandt, and hundred others of painters no one's ever heard, that can never be taken from you. Never. And the tears started rolling down Adam's cheeks. Now, quickly, the first thing that comes into your mind, the reason I lost my childhood was what? The reason I lost my childhood was to teach me that I can lose almost anything, but there have to be some things that I can never lose, like knowing something. You can never lose your knowledge. I'd better have many of those things in my life as I can. So I'll be still strong. I'll still be strong in a way that can't be taken away from me. Suddenly he was silent. It hit him that he found what he'd been looking for. So that gives you a very special meaning to knowledge you acquired, doesn't it? It must be why I'm still so hungry to know everything about art. Every time I learn something I didn't know before, I feel safer and stronger. We're not we're not done, Adam. Why? I mean, what is it about you that would make this so important to you? I was this skinny, short, dark little boy. I was very quiet. I did well with my schoolwork, but I wasn't special. My worst fear was that I'd never be good at anything. It's like that was the big question. Was I going to be somebody in my parents' eyes or nothing? And that was very intimidating. I think the difference now is that I don't think about being special or wonderful. The pressure is off. There's just art, and it's beautiful and interesting, and I love it. But I needed a solid foundation, something like dikes the Dutch built to hold back the sea. My foundation would hold back my sense of loss. It would be insurance against loss. You can't lose knowledge. So the reason you lost your childhood, I said, was to learn how important it is to really know something, because then you'd have a strength that could never be taken away from you. Yes, yeah, I think that's what this gave me. And I think that if that hadn't happened, then maybe I have been one of those people who just wanted to be special. I know a lot of people like that in the art world, and deep down, they're in despair because they know they're not really very special. But if you know something or know how to do something, it could be knowing how to bake bread, anything. It's so real and solid. You never have to worry about how special you are. Meaning, having knowledge, nobody can ever take it away. Everything happens for a reason. Thank you for being here. From the Granny Lady, Glamorous Granny. Have a good night.